What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Jeff Rose, and today I want to do something a little bit different. It seems like a lot of the comments, a lot of the people that contact me either through this channel or through the blog, there is one key thing that they are trying to achieve. And whether that is trying to become an entrepreneur, trying to start an online business, trying to invest, trying to get rich, try to get wealthy, try to become successful. With any of these goals, these desires that you want to achieve, typically there are some key habits, some key daily activities, daily principles, daily values that you have to do. And if you don't do it, you're going to find yourself struggling. You're going to find yourself stuck. And these are things, when I look back at how I was raised, the people that mentored me, the people that I was in mastermind groups, these high level, high achieving mastermind groups, these are just some of the common things that I see in practice. You have all the things that people talk about, all the hoopla and all these hacks and all these secret shortcuts, all these cheat codes to achieve success. But at the end of the day, there are some key habits. And these are 4 key habits that, Dan Sullivan from Strategic Coach, he referred to these as the referability habits. So habits that when you adopt these and people are around you and they get to witness these through your actions, through things that you do, it makes you referable because people are impressed, they like you, people want to tell more people about you, and it's just some common stuff. Common, they should be common, but in practice, you don't see a lot of people executing these on a daily or consistent basis. And as you'll see, it doesn't matter what line of business that you are in, what line of work you are in. Doesn't matter what you're trying to achieve. Like, these are common characteristics, common values that many high achievers, very successful men and women have. And as I go through these, these are the things, these core principles, these core habits that I am attempting to instill into my children so that they can be accountable, so they know what it looks like, what it tastes like, what it feels like to be successful. So let's go ahead and break down what are these 4 referability habits that millionaires have and future millionaires need to incorporate. So the first referability habit is show up on time. How many times are you late to an appointment, or even worse, how often are you waiting for somebody to show up to a meeting? And you have that friend, you have that family member, maybe it's a coworker, that they are always late. And I know these people exist because there was a time that I was that person. And I always just justify to myself that, it didn't really matter. It didn't really affect me or my productivity. The people didn't really care, that I was just a few minutes late. Like, what's the big deal? But over time, I started to realize that, one, it is a very selfish outlook because I am not valuing that other person's time. The other piece of that, which took me years to finally accept, but anytime that I was running late to an appointment, I was stressed out. If I had to get in my car and drive somewhere, I was speeding, I was looking at my clock and I was like feeling guilty because I was running late. There was just all this stress that I had, all these times that I was running late, even though I tried to pretend that it wasn't a big deal. So then I get to the meeting and I'm not fully prepared. So if I have a presentation that I had, or some sort of papers that I had to get out of my bag to show, I was just stressed out. And I tried my best to hide it, to try to keep it subdued so that the person, whoever I was meeting with, didn't feel that. But on the inside, I could feel it. And just a simple practice of showing up 5 minutes early, 10 minutes early, 15 minutes early. And that one's still hard for me, but just to show up 5 minutes early, where now I'm waiting on that person, it gave me this sense of peace. I wasn't stressed. rest and I could actually be fully present for that person who I was meeting with. So the first one is show up on time. The second one is do what you say. I love it because my wife, she often says this to our kids: say what you mean and do what you say, because actions will always speak louder than words. Your words are everything. And this is something that I instill in my boys, and I'm working on my daughter as well. She's only 6 at this point in time, but our words that's our character. You know, when we tell somebody that we are going to do something, and if we don't do it, that is their experience with us. They cannot trust us. They cannot trust our words. Doing what you say is so important. And I can think of one situation. It was a client of mine, and there was some issue with their retirement account. And I can remember that it ended up being a really big deal where they were going to have to pay a lot of unnecessary tax with like a retirement contribution. And I can't remember all the specifics, but I remember that I told them what I was going to do. I did it, but then something happened with my back office where they didn't do something right. And all this time had passed. I mean, it's almost like a year. And I just remember my client being livid. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to do? Because like, this is what I said was going to happen, and it didn't. And I can just remember like having to go to that client and just say, I am so sorry. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, this is what I did. This is what they are telling me. I don't fully understand. Unfortunately, at this point in time, like, there's nothing that I can do. And it was the worst feeling. But then as it turns out, like, I kept pushing my back office, kept getting them information to where they finally said, you know what? You're right. That was our mistake. And I was able to call the client back and say, it's taken care of. And I was fully expecting that client to still be angry at me, but they weren't, because I did what I said I was going to do. Like, it finally ended up working out. But it's so important. And I know, like, with my boys, like, just the simple things of, hey, are you doing the dishes? Are you taking the trash out? Did you take the puppies out? Like, there's all these things. And anytime that doesn't happen, I remind them that this is what you said you were going to do. And I trusted you. I trusted those words. I trusted that was going to get done. You got to do what you say. So anytime that you tell somebody that you are going to get a project done, that you're going to meet a certain deadline, if you don't do what you say, they're not going to be able to count on you. And that being said, if you know that you're not going to be able to fulfill whatever it is that you promised, then let them know. Give them a heads up. Stay in constant communication so that they are not blindsided to the fact that you didn't get done what you said you were going to do. And that's a perfect segue into the third referability habit. Is always finish what you start and give maximum effort. And I was trying to think of some different examples here. And to me, looking at number 2, do what you say and also finish what you start with number 3, I can think about a previous designer I had on my blog. And this was one of the major redesigns that I was getting ready to do. And this was the first time that I was working with this guy who I just met really online. I was referred to him, and he'd given me this price. He'd given me this deadline. I went ahead and paid the deposit, and next thing I know, I get a phone call. And this is not typical in the online space. You know, when you are hiring an independent contractor, you're either communicating usually via email, maybe a Slack. You know, you might jump on Zoom or Skype to have a quick call. But this was, I think, one of the first times, no, it wasn't the first time, but it was maybe the second time that we had spoke. But I wasn't expecting his call. And it turned out that he had hired another contractor somewhere overseas, had paid them up front to do some of the work for my website, and then that person disappeared. Even worse, they didn't give him any of the files that they had been working on, which really made no sense. So here he was, not meeting his deadline, hadn't finished what he started, and also he wasn't fulfilling on what he said he would do. But the one thing that I appreciated was that he was willing to give me a call like a man, accept ownership, take accountability for what wasn't being done, and he was committed at that point trying to find a solution. And initially, like the fee that he had quoted me went from $5,000 to $25,000. I mean, because he didn't have anybody else. And I was like, dude, that ain't gonna work, unfortunately. But then he ended up doing some more homework, ended up finding somebody else. And guess what? We got the site done. And this was not the most recent design. It was the design before this. It was gorgeous. We saw revenue increase exponentially after implementing that new design. And all because this guy did what he said. It took him a little bit, you know, unfortunately he had some others underneath him that didn't do what they were going to say, put him in a bind, but he was willing to take ownership and he finished what he started. And because of that, I have referred so much business to him, and not just for his design skills, because he has an amazing eye when it comes to design, especially with websites and anything online, anything marketing, graphic design, but even more so because his willingness to stick to it, take accountability, and finish what he started. And the fourth referability habit is always say thank you and please. How pleasant is it whenever you do something nice for somebody and you hear the words thank you, or somebody's asking you to do something and they say the word please? Because underneath all of that, those two words, please and thank you, there is somebody that is showing appreciation. There is somebody that recognizes what gratitude really is. One of my favorite fast food restaurants that's here in the area is Chick-fil-A. Now, unfortunately, In-N-Out Burger is not in the Midwest. Chick-fil-A, it's a good second place, but one of the things that I love and respect and appreciate about Chick-fil-A, and if you've never been there, they have some of the best customer service that you'll ever experience, especially at a fast food restaurant. And one of the phrases that you will always hear whenever you go and you order something, you will always hear the cashier, the person working the counter, even the person that was cleaning the lobby, you'll always hear them say, "My pleasure." It is my pleasure to take your order. It is my pleasure to cook your order. It is my pleasure to feed your family the chicken nuggets and fries and their chocolate chip cookies, which I absolutely love. And it seems so basic, but there's just something bigger there that when you wrap your head around it and you realize, like, wow, like they appreciate the fact that I chose to come here, even though they've got a line, like 20 cars, like at lunchtime or dinner, they still appreciate that. And anytime that you get that feeling from somebody, I mean, anytime you go to like a big box store, like a Walmart or a Target, I don't know the last time that I felt, oh, they're glad that I came in. They're glad that I spent money. I definitely don't get that from Amazon, even though, yes, I love Amazon Prime, getting packages here like in 2 days or less. Like that is awesome, but I'm not getting a thank you greeting from Jeff Bezos. I'm not getting, any appreciation. It's very transactional. Like it is, there's nothing warm and fuzzy about that. So anytime that you are doing something for somebody, even if you have to go out of your way, just thanking them for the opportunity. My pleasure. I appreciate the fact that you are doing this. I appreciate the fact that you are going out of your way, or I just appreciate the fact that you are willing to do it, period. It's these simple things, these simple habits, simple parts of your character. When people get to witness all of them, they get to see somebody that is showing up on time, that is doing what they say, that is always finishing what they started, and they are offering appreciation and gratitude along the way. Those are the measures of success that people sense it. They might not be able to put it on paper or quickly identify those are the things, but it's just like this, that person has this aura about them. Like, yeah, that person, they always do what they say. They're always kind and generous. And I've just never had an issue with them. Like, and you can't help but refer to those types of people. So that's why you want to be one of those people. And it doesn't matter what you are trying to achieve in your life. If you have those 4 referability habits, it will set you apart. I guarantee it. All right, y'all, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. This is Jeff Rose reminding you that it's your money, it's your life, and only you can make it awesome. Until next time, peace.